As the newly appointed chairman of the House Oversight and Accountability Committee, Kentucky Republican Representative James Comer revealed on Sunday he is probing President Biden and his family's finances. Comer has requested information from the Treasury Department and asked for visitor logs for Biden's home, which, according to the White House, do not exist. Comer says that investigating the Biden family is like, quote, tracking a bleeding bear through a snowstorm. I guess that means it's easy. You'd think you'd see blood on the snow, be easy to spot. I think that's what he means. For more on this investigation into the president and classified documents, we welcome in Mitchell Epner. He's a member of the firm Rottenberg, Lippman, Rich, PC, a former federal prosecutor. Mitchell, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having me, Mitch.
We talked about visitor logs and all that kind of stuff last week, but we found more documents over the weekend, or rather, I should say somebody searching on behalf of the FBI found those. What is going on? Why? Who has? There's so many questions here. Do presidents just keep documents? Do former senators keep documents? Who else has documents out there? Where are all these things? Why is no one keeping track of them? I have so many questions.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't have answers to those questions, but I have an answer to the underlying question, which is what's going on here? What's going on here is that the president's lawyers said things that they hoped were true instead of things that they knew were true. And it turned out that the things that they hoped were true were not true. And because those things were not true, we now have a small mess that's a bigger mess.
It's a small mess that becomes a bigger mess when the lawyer says, that's about it. We're sure that's probably it. And then they're wrong. What does that do to any potential investigation? We know the DOJ has a special counsel. Does that make Biden et al. Look guilty here, or does it just make their lawyers look incompetent?
We don't know yet. Here, I've handled many of these types of investigations for public officials in private cases. And when, as an attorney, I say something to the government, I need them to be able to take it to the bank because I want to be able to say to the government, you don't need to speak directly to my client. I've asked all the questions that you would want to ask, and here are the answers. If it turns out I'm wrong, there are lots of possibilities, and all of them are bad. Either the client's lying to me, I don't know how to ask my client the right questions, or I'm lying to them. But in any way, the government on a going forward basis is much less likely to take my word for it as a lawyer and say, we really need to speak to the principal, and meaning the main person, not like somebody at a school. And the problem is the second you get a politician in front of a hot mic, you have no idea what bad thing they're going to say. I mean, the whole Monica Lewinsky thing was an outgrowth of the Paula Jones thing, which was an outgrowth of the Whitewater thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of it that way. But you mentioned that the government is going to take the lawyers a little bit less seriously. I think we saw a little bit of that because before this weekend search, it had been Biden's attorneys saying, we're searching, we've got security clearance, we'll turn over anything to you, we're willing to cooperate. My understanding here is that the FBI was involved in this latest search, that they did find additional classified documents that date all the way back to when the president currently was a senator. And we know he was in the Senate for a very long time. Is it the right thing now for the FBI to be involved here and to be searching and to be part of this process where the FBI was not part previously?
The problem that the Biden attorneys have is they can no longer say it's not necessary. If the FBI wants to be involved, the FBI is going to be involved. And the thing that shocked me was knowing that this search was coming, the Biden attorneys didn't find this stuff themselves. If you knew that the cops were coming tomorrow to your house, you should do a search today to make certain you hand over to them whatever you think they are looking for. We are not in Goodfellas. Karen should not be flushing the cocaine down the toilet.
What a reference. Let me ask you this question, though. How many classified documents are just hanging around out there? It seems like the folks we believe should be the most careful with these things because they have the most information have been a little bit too casual. That includes Biden as a senator. That includes him as a vice president. That includes former President Trump as a former president. And I'm just kind of curious, like, is this the tip of the iceberg? Are there a lot of people out there that have a lot of documents they shouldn't have anymore, and no one's looking for them?
You see, I don't know the answer to that question, but I know the answer to some important related questions. There have been studies done by Rand and other big think tanks that say that literally there are millions of classified documents created every year. The rule is supposed to be you don't take them home. Nobody takes them home. The only person whose home gets classified documents is the president, and his home is his office. If people are violating that rule of you don't take them home, we're unlikely to know it until there's an investigation because there are literally millions of them out there.
It seems like there's just a lot of work that needs to be done in order to improve the American document security system. That's Mitchell Epner. He's a member of the firm Rottenberg, Lippman, Rich, PC, a former federal prosecutor himself. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Mitch.
After